So, okay, in terms of FinTwit conference, so obviously I'm putting this thing together. It's Columbus Day weekend in October, which is Friday, October 8th until Sunday, October 10th. You know, I think everyone on this Twitter Spaces probably knows what FinTwit is, since that's probably why you're listening right now. And most of us have spent the last 18 plus months talking to each other every day on Twitter. Yet the majority of us have never actually met face to face in person. So I thought, now that the pandemic is hopefully coming to an end and people are getting vaccinated, and hopefully we don't see any continued upticks in COVID cases with the variant. But if we do, so be it. We'll kind of play it by ear. I hope everyone that's listening to this is either vaccinated or I should say anyone that's planning to come, gets their vaccine in advance. I've had mine for a few months now, and it's just a lot less stressful going out places if you know that you have the vaccine. And even though there's apparently a chance I could get COVID or the variant, because I have the vaccine, it would be less potent. Because I think hospitalizations right now are up for people with the variant, but obviously way down for people that have the vaccine. So, okay, putting that aside. So what we're going to do with the event is we're going to kick it off that Friday night, October 8th, with a 2 or 3 hour cocktail party. We're not going to do it in like one of the ballrooms or event spaces. There's a handful of restaurants there, so we could do it in there, or we could have them put out tables for us. Like, they have a bunch of these like outdoor garden areas. One's called a citrus garden. That's actually where we're going to do our event on Sunday morning. So I could convince them to put out tables, like, high cocktail tables for us on that Friday. And then we could have 2 or 3 bars set up where people could get, beer, wine, mixed drinks, etc. So we're not going to do appetizers. It's just way too expensive. When you start to do like past hors d'oeuvres for a bunch of people, I mean, they'll charge you $30-$40 a head, and there's just no way that people are going to eat $30 or $40 worth of appetizers. I assume most people are going to, check into the property, get some food, and then come over to the cocktail party already fed. So let's not worry about the food Friday night. So we'll do that for 2 or 3 hours. I mean, after that, people can obviously go do whatever they want, or go back to their hotel room and get a good night's sleep. So in terms of the hotel, so I should mention that. So we're doing, technically the event is at the JW Marriott in Orlando. It's a beautiful property. I'm actually looking at it. If you go to, so the website that I set up is FinTwit 2021. So, obviously the year, FinTwit2021.com. Go there. You'll see a picture of the JW Marriott on the landing page, and then scroll down and you'll see the schedules, the speakers, the sponsors, and then links to both buy event tickets, which you'll need to have, as well as reserve your rooms at either property. So when I say either property, what I mean is the JW Marriott is where we're technically doing the event. Friday for the cocktail party, Saturday for all the speaking stuff, and then Sunday morning. But the Ritz-Carlton Orlando is literally right next door. It's like a 3-minute walk away. They actually share amenities. And so if you're actually staying at either property, you can go use the pool or any outdoor amenities at either property. So they're really kind of connected in that way. And what they did, which I think is amazing, is they actually let us block off rooms at both properties at the same rate. So normally rooms at the JW Marriott for Columbus Day weekend would be probably $350 to $400 a night, if not more. And we got them for $239 a night. The Ritz-Carlton this time, that time of year, long weekend in October, since Disney is not that far away, Ritz-Carlton, we usually go for anywhere from $500 to $700 a night. I think if you go to the Ritz-Carlton website right now and try to book rooms by yourself, I think they're going for like $659. And we got those rooms blocked off at $239 a night as well. So you can stay at either property for $239 a night. There is a $20 daily resort fee, but that's normally $40. So I got them to cut that in half. And that includes access to all of the amenities, the pool, fitness centers, Wi-Fi. So we got a great deal on that as well. So so Friday night we've talked about. Saturday morning, we're going to start off with a buffet breakfast in the ballroom. So that's obviously where we're going to be doing most of the speaking stuff. We will have some breakout sessions, but we'll do buffet breakfast from 8 to 9. Just so everyone knows, it's like $55 a person plus taxes and gratuity. So bring your appetite. Do not like wake up and nibble on something and then spoil your appetite. Like come in there hungry as hell and eat your face off. So we'll pig out for an hour. Some of the sponsors will be getting up on stage and kind of giving their 3 or 4 minute pitches. That's how we're going to help add some value for them. And then at 9 o'clock, we'll kick it off with our first keynote speaker, who I haven't decided who that's going to be yet. And then we'll do breakout sessions. So we're going to do 3 different breakout sessions, but 2 at a time. So we'll have, we'll have 2 other rooms set up, and, one room will have a speaker talking about, let's say macro stuff. And then the other room will have a speaker talking about, let's say options trading. And then, so you'll have to pick one of those 2. And then, 45 minutes later, we'll have another speaker come in, and, you can either stay in that room for, let's say, a talk on growth investing. Like, I'm just being really generic here. Or you can go into the other room and, there'll be a different topic in there. So you'll basically, technically there's going to be like 6 breakout sessions, 2 at a time, three spots on the schedule. So you'll get to go to 3 breakout sessions. But we're going to record everything. So whatever sessions you don't get to watch live, you'll get the recording afterwards, so that you won't technically miss them. You just won't see them live, but you'll get to watch the recording the final week. And then after the breakout sessions, like 45 minutes each. So whatever 45 times 3 is, what is that, like 2 hours and 15 minutes, I think. Then we'll come back into the main ballroom, and we're going to do a panel. I believe the panel is going to be Muji and Peter. So I think everyone on Twitter knows Muji as Hypergrowth, and then Peter is, I think, Stack Investing is his Twitter handle. So these are like 2 of the gurus when it comes to cloud stocks, cybersecurity, etc. So we're going to do a kick-ass 50-minute panel with the 2 of them. We'll have a moderator. I don't know who it's going to be yet. Maybe it's me. And then we'll wrap up on Saturday with a second keynote speaker, who I'm probably going to keep as a secret for now. I'm not 100% sure you can do it, but if you can, awesome. So if you go to the website, like I said, FinTwit 2021, you'll see all the speakers. I think we have 8 speakers confirmed right now. I'm still waiting for 3 or 4 more. We're going to try to get up to like 11 or 12 total. Right now, it's all guys. I've reached out to several females about being speakers. One could not do it because she has a wedding that weekend. 2 others did not get back to me. So, like, I am not being a chauvinist or anything. Like, I have no preference, male or female. I'm just trying to find great speakers that are available to come down and do it that weekend. I would love to have a few female speakers, but if they can't do it or they don't respond to me, obviously there's no way for me to confirm with them. So just, know that. And then we have, let me scroll down to the sponsors. We have 6 sponsors confirmed right now. Actually, I need to add Substack to there. So technically it's 7 sponsors confirmed right now. I really want to get up to at least 10, if not 12. So if you know any sponsors, let me know. It's $5,500 per sponsor, but that includes a ton of exposure, and you'll get opportunities to get on stage, when people are eating breakfast and lunch, and, give a 3 or 4 minute pitch on your company. You'll have a table outside the ballroom where you can, as hundreds of people are coming in and out of the ballroom, they'll stop at your table. They'll, grab any handouts you have. Maybe they'll sign up for your service. You can give them a demo, whatever you want. And then we want the sponsors to stick around all weekend, send a couple people from your company and hang out for the weekend, come to the cocktail party, come to the pool party or whatever we do Saturday afternoon or Sunday. Like, it's open to you to meet all the other attendees and, talk about your different products and services. So after we finish up with the second keynote speaker on Saturday, then we're going to do a lunch buffet. Once again, this is like $65 a person. So Like, try not to do any nibbling between breakfast and lunch. Bring your appetite because we're paying for it. Um, Tickets are 180, and the reason I gave the prices for the buffets is just to show you how much food actually costs at a nice hotel, so that you know I'm only charging 180 to cover the food and beverage. Like, I'm not making any money off this. I'm not making a profit. In fact, two of my companies are probably going to be sponsors, so I'm probably throwing in $11,000 out of my own pocket to help cover some of the costs. So the 180 that we're charging for tickets is really just to cover, all of your food, setup, and everything, and then the sponsors are hopefully going to cover all of the other costs. Setting up tables, breaking down tables, the AV, so audio video is very expensive, like insanely expensive. Setting up the stage, setting up all the screens around the stage so that people in the back of the room can see the speakers and hear the speakers. And then we have to do microphones on stage, and then we have to do a wireless mic that can be passed around. And then we want to record the whole thing. And then I have to, leave some money aside for editing, because we obviously want to edit it, make it look really nice, put in some B-roll. I'm hoping that I can find an affordable videographer to come for the weekend and get some great video of the cocktail party, everything we're doing on Saturday. Just so that if we do this event again in the future, we have some really nice content that we can use for promotional purposes. And I just think that, when we send out this recording to everybody the week after, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy, kind of seeing themselves, the energy, and, they kind of get to relive it again. So that's kind of how all the money's getting spent. Like I said, I'm not making any profit. If there is any money left over after we pay our food and beverage minimums, after we pay all of the contractors, etc., if I know that there's money left over before the end of the weekend, maybe I'll be able to buy pizzas for everybody, or when we go to the NFL party, I can buy beers. I don't know if I'm going to have any money left over though until after the event, the more I think about it. So what we'll do is, we can either donate that money to charity, or we can, leave it in the bank account I set up, and we can use that towards the next event. So one of those two options probably makes the most sense, since, I probably won't even know my final expenses until a week or two after the event, when I've paid all of the contractors, videographer, video editor, etc. So just in full disclosure. And then, so Saturday afternoon, after the second keynote speaker, we do the lunch buffet. The other half of the sponsors will, get up and give their 3 or 4 minute pitches while we're all eating. Captive audience. And then after that, the afternoon is free. You can go do whatever you want. If you want to, meet up with other people and talk stocks, great. If you want to go to Disney, awesome. If you want to go golfing, do it. I think myself and probably a lot of others are going to go hang out by the pool. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to have a bar out there for us, but I'm sure there's a million places at the property to get drinks. So, I'm just thinking we hang out by the pool for a few hours. Maybe we grab some tables. I think there's a lazy river. So if you want to go, go down the lazy river, double fisting some tequila drinks, go for it. But afternoon's free to do whatever you want. I don't think this weekend should be all about just, content, learning, blah, blah, blah. I want people to actually come down there, have some fun, relax, and, really get to spend time with each other and build relationships and friendships. So I think, we want to leave enough time for that as well. So, and then Saturday night, once again, Saturday afternoon is open. Saturday night is open. Go, make dinner plans, get food delivered to your room, whatever you want to do. Go out to a nightclub, rent a limo. I don't care. We're not planning anything specific. It just gets too complicated with this many people. So rather than try to guess what people want to do, I just decided to leave it open. Sunday morning, everyone's kind of on their own for breakfast. Like I said, there's a bunch of restaurants at the Ritz and the JW Marriott. So finding somewhere to have breakfast will not be a problem. There's also a Starbucks on property. So if you just want to do something light at Starbucks, coffee and pastry. You can do that as well. It's just not worth, a lot of people are going to go out Saturday night, get drunk, wake up hungover. They're not going to feel like coming down and eating a big breakfast. So there's no point in us paying, $55, $60 a person for breakfast if people aren't even going to show up. But what we are going to do is in that citrus garden that I mentioned earlier on Sunday morning, we're going to do a 2 or 3 hour kind of roundtable Q&A session. So I'm probably going to have 12 tables set up, maybe a few more, and we'll have a different conversation going on at each table. So, maybe one table is going to be cybersecurity, one table is going to be, cloud computing, one table might be, industrials or EV or SPACs, like whatever. We're going to have 10 or 12 different tables set up with different discussions going on. I am slightly worried, though, that I don't know how big the tables are, and if you can't fit enough people around a table, then that might be an issue if a lot of people show up. If there's 400, 500, 600 people at this event, and there's a good chance that at least half of them are going to come to this Sunday morning kind of roundtable session, maybe even more than that, then I'm not 100% sure the whole roundtable thing is going to work. Or we'll just need more tables, or we'll have to put tables together. And that's possible. We could take, or maybe square tables, and do lots of big square tables that, maybe 25 or 30 people can sit around or stand up. So I'm not going to stress about that stuff right now. We have another 2.5 months to really plan out the nitty gritty details of the cocktail party. But just to know, everyone knows that's the plan. So Friday night cocktail party, Saturday is content, and then brunch, breakfast and lunch are covered in the ticket price. And then let's call it a pool party or golfing, whatever you want to do. And then Sunday is going to be 2 or 3 hours of the roundtable discussions. And then, I'm a huge NFL fan. I'm a big Patriots fan. Patriots are playing that Sunday. A lot of other NFL games are obviously on, right? This is the middle of NFL season. I know a lot of people that also invest in stocks, also love to do sports betting. And I'm sure there's probably some DraftKings shareholders that are going to be there. So, I think what we'll probably end up doing is finding a sports bar in the area, or maybe even doing it at the property. I'm not sure yet. But if we do it at a sports bar, a big sports bar is going to have a whole bunch of screens with lots of different games on, and that gives all of us a chance to kind of watch the team that we want to watch. So that's kind of why I was thinking about doing it at a sports bar where you have the variety of different games on, versus doing it at one of the restaurants at the property where you might just have a couple TVs and then you're stuck just watching one game. So, but like I said, Sunday afternoon is open for whatever you want to do. You don't have to come to the sports bar if you don't want to. If you don't like football, you can go do anything else you want. It's open for you. I think a lot of people might even just fly home on Sunday. But it is a long weekend, right? Columbus Day weekend is a 3-day weekend, which is why we're doing it that weekend in the first place. So nobody misses work on Monday or misses the markets. Markets are obviously going to be closed on that Monday. So, whether you want to fly home Sunday or Monday, that's obviously up to you. Something I mentioned the other day in a tweet is we have, so the negotiated rate of $239 a night actually counts 3 nights before the event technically starts and 3 nights after the event technically ends. So if you want to come in that Tuesday, I think that's the 5th, maybe, you can come in the 5th or that Tuesday or Wednesday, I forget exactly, and get that 239 rate, and then stay through the weekend and actually stay 3 more days on that same 239 negotiated rate. So I'm personally going up there 3 days early just to make sure everything is set up the way that I want it. And then I'm obviously going to stay for a couple more days after, just to kind of, decompress after the stressful weekend. So anybody that wants to come hang out for a few days, feel free. Beautiful properties. Hopefully the weather is great and you'll get that 239 rate, which is, especially at the Ritz, which is just a phenomenal price in October. So I think that's pretty much it. With regards to the speakers, I haven't put anybody in any slots yet, other than the panel is I'm 99% sure the panel is going to be Muji and Peter. all the other speakers that I've announced and then have not announced are going to get slotted in somewhere to the breakout session. So for instance, Jake from TrendSpider will be doing a breakout session, and he'll be, obviously doing a demo with TrendSpider and talking about, what charting software and, basically reading charts and looking at technicals and a lot of stuff that people obviously pay attention to. And then, Brian Shannon, and, we have some great speakers lined up. Ben, who everyone knows as Pattern Profits on Twitter. He's another great speaker I'm looking forward to. And then Hugh and Richard and hopefully a couple women. So I think that's pretty much it. So I'm just going through the website right now. We're not doing virtual tickets because live streaming is a complete nightmare, especially if you're going to have breakout sessions with speakers in multiple rooms. It just really makes it complicated. So it's better for us just to record the whole thing, put it into one big video, and then make that video available for free to everyone that bought an event ticket. And then we'll probably charge $20 to anyone that doesn't have a ticket. And so that's sort of the equivalent to what a virtual ticket would be, I suppose. It's just not live. I think that's pretty much it. So if you haven't bought a ticket yet, go to the website and do it. If you haven't booked your room yet, go to the website and do it, because we only have 350 rooms blocked off. So after those 350 rooms are gone, meaning they've been reserved, I can then contact the hotel and say, okay, can you give us another 25 or 50 rooms? And they might say yes or no. I have no idea. It's going to depend on availability, but I also have no idea what that rate might actually be. So there's a decent chance that they say, nope, it's a 3-day weekend. It's packed already. We already gave you 350 rooms, so we can't give you any more. I think that's probably what they would tell me. Or they would say, yes, we can give you another 50 rooms, but it's not going to be 239. It's going to be 339 or 399 because, we have so few rooms left. So if you think you're coming that weekend, I would not hold off and wait to buy to get your room reservations, because if you do, you're probably not going to get to stay at one of these two properties. You're going to have to stay at another property, and then you have to worry about, driving over in the morning or getting an Uber or, a 15-minute walk, whatever it might be. Like, just much, much easier to stay at one of these properties. And then the deal that we worked out for 239 is amazing. I have no plans. I mean, I will not block off any more rooms at any other hotels. I mean, I'm already putting my ass on the line for these 350 rooms. I'm not going to do it at another property. So if you miss this room block, it's on you. I'm not going to put any more deposits down at other properties because someone took too long to reserve their room. So if you're not one of the first 350 to block rooms, to book a room, chances are you're gonna have to stay at a different property and pay more money. So just a heads up. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if Gav, can you still hear me? Or okay,
yep,
I got you. So yeah, how was that?
I think that covered pretty much everything. I also pinned to the top of this space, if anybody wants to see the pictures of what that area looks like, go ahead and take a look at the details for the conference, FinTwit2021.com. I think we covered pretty much everything, to be honest. Following up on what you said, we're definitely trying to get a couple more sponsors. We would really appreciate, if anybody has any connections. This is a really, really powerful community, I think, to be able to hit. And so just DM those over to, Jonah or myself. If you have any of those personal connections at any companies, definitely, finance or business-oriented companies, I think this is right in their
Yeah,
niche.
so what the sponsors are going to get, just so everyone knows, so if you do have anyone in mind and they ask you, you can tell them. Obviously, they're going to be on the website. They're going to be in all the email blasts. They're going to be in the social media posts. Wolf is going to help me put together some digital marketing brochures and materials that will include all of the sponsors' names and logos on it. So that's what we'll be promoting. I'll be promoting it. All of the speakers will be promoting it. I'm sure the other sponsors will be promoting it. I'm trying not to have direct competitors as sponsors, because then they'll be a little bit more apprehensive about promoting it. But, I'm not going to turn away a sponsor if they want to throw in $5,500, as long as they're not sworn enemies of another sponsor that's already confirmed. I'm not going to have a big problem with it. But And then at the event, you'll get a 3 or 4 minute opportunity on stage to pitch to everybody when they're all in the ballroom. You'll have a table outside. When we do the cocktail party on Friday night, if we do it outside in the garden with table set up, then we're going to have like those little stand up table tents, maybe like 8 inches across and 12 inches high, like the size of a regular piece of paper, and was at 8.5 by 11, or I forget, 8.5 by 11.5 maybe. So we'll have one of those, like one of those plastic stand-up table tents, and it'll be two-sided. And then on both sides will be all of the logos of the sponsors. And then we'll be using those same table tents on Saturday. So when everyone's eating their breakfast and lunch, and we have all the round tables set up, we're going to use those same stand-ups on the tables. And then same thing on Sunday morning, assuming that we have table set up for the round table discussions in the garden again, we'll be using those table tents, of course, once again. So sponsors will get a lot of visibility. I'm also hoping to have like a big sign created. So when you walk, as you're walking into the ballroom, there's like a big sign, maybe, 6 feet by 6 feet or 8 feet by 8 feet, that would have, obviously the name of the conference and then all of the logos and maybe pictures of the speakers. I just don't know how much it's going to cost. I mean, if it's going to cost thousands of dollars, then it's obviously not worth it. That's just draining money out of the fund. But if we can get a sign created for an affordable price, then obviously we'll do that. And then, probably put something on stage as well. So, I mean, $5,500 in the world of sponsorships for conferences is pretty cheap money. I've sponsored conferences before with my previous companies, and in most cases, $10,000 is the starting price for anything like this size. And then you start to get up into like the big conferences, and you're talking $25,000 to $50,000 starting prices. So okay, that's pretty much all I've done.
Yeah, I brought up Michael because he had actually a good question that he shot me. Michael, if you want to ask a question.
Yeah, thanks, Wolfie, and really nice breakdown, Jonah. Just a quick question. So let's say you're not sure today based on the date if you can attend. Is there a deadline date for to buy a ticket to attend? And then also, is there like a limit on the overall amount of tickets available? And thanks again, Jonah.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so there is a limit. I mean, there's a limit as to how many people we can actually have in the ballroom. I'd have to double check, but it's a pretty high number. I think it's somewhere around 750 or 800, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think we're going to get to that number, so that's why I wasn't really overly concerned with it. But I'll double check with the hotel as to see how many people we can actually have at round tables in the ballroom for breakfast and lunch, which would probably be our capacity. There's not really there's not really a deadline on event tickets, because I have to pay. So I have billing set up with the property. So every 30 days, I have to pay them $20,000 towards the food and beverage minimum. But I expect the revenues from tickets will come in fast enough where I'll be able to cover that $20,000. Basically like the first 3 payments. I don't really have a deadline on headcount that I have to give the hotel for a number of people attending, since they're obviously not going to be cooking the food until, the day of or the day before. So I can probably give them a headcount on attendees pretty close to the date, let's call it a week or two out. So maybe end of September on tickets. And then rooms obviously is, like you said, that's first come, first serve. So, if you think you're going to come and you're not 100% sure, probably better just to reserve a room now, so you know that you have one. And then if you have to cancel it, I don't know what the hotel is doing for cancellation policy. I'll leave that up to everyone else. A lot of people have, they're Marriott Rewards members, so they probably get special privileges, or, if they need to cancel, they probably can, or they get credits. So I don't know what Marriott Rewards looks like, so I'm not going to even try to guess what the cancellation policy might be.
Cool. And then yeah, also with Jonah, like you said, with the promotional materials, I think I'll try to get maybe like a little clip from each speaker ahead of time. Maybe we'll throw that together, and just some other stuff. But I think we've covered pretty much everything. I don't see any other questions right now in the crowd. I know that your time is limited. Anything else you want to cover today?
Yeah, I mean, we'll just I'll talk stocks for a few minutes, and then I have to jump off.
Sure.
You know, I'm just looking at my screens right now. So small mid cap is not having the best day. Large cap tech looks pretty strong today on the back of what was really really good earnings from Snap yesterday. So you're seeing all of the social media stocks up today. You're seeing a lot of the advertising stocks up today, like Trade Desk. I'm assuming, where's Google? Yep, Google's up 2.5%. So there's definitely a rally in tech right now. Whether this is just on the hopes of really strong Q2 earnings continuing, as well as if there is any risk of a mini pandemic or a second wave or third wave, whatever you want to call it. A lot of the 2020 winners will end up being winners once again. There's an argument that some of these valuations are already a little stretched, but if we see great Q2 numbers and they raise guidance, then the valuation concerns kind of fix themselves. So depending on what kind of investor you are, you're probably either having a really good day or a really bad day. I'm having I'm down 2.5% today, but I'm mostly getting hurt on Futu. So there's more concerns right now over China stocks getting, delisted or more regulated. I mean, it's just hard to know where that goes. Futu is the only China stock that I own. There is no other China stock that I'd want to own right now, even though some of them are down 40, 50, 60% in the last couple months. Futu is the only one that I really trust, and the fundamentals are still the strongest in my opinion. Didi's down another 17% today. I mean, Futu was at 180 a few weeks ago as Didi did their IPO. And as soon as that news came down that China was pissed at Didi and they started banning Didi or making them, pull their apps out of the App Store, that's kind of started this avalanche in China stocks. And it looked like it was starting to fade. That avalanche was starting to find a support level a few days ago. And then here we go again. So just beware. I don't think you want to be over leveraged on China stocks right now. Just not worth the geopolitical risk. But I'm not going to sell Futu right now. I just think it's just way too freaking cheap. I think they're going to earn $600 million in revenue this year. So the stock is trading at like 22 times earnings with 180% revenue growth and 150% earnings growth. So I'll accept that China risk for right now. It's just not a good day to be a Chinese investor. But anyways, they report earnings in a few weeks, and that can turn the stock around probably. I'm still so the rest of my stocks are. I'm up anywhere from 3.5% today on most of my stocks to down 3.5%, 4%. But that's part of small cap, mid cap growth investing. You have these volatile days, you have rotations from small mid cap into large cap, and then as we saw earlier this week, you had the rotation from large cap into small mid cap. When the risk on trade starts to catch again. So, and then to be honest, like 95% of the stocks that I track and watch, probably more than that, haven't even reported Q2 earnings yet. So, days like today don't bother me. I'm not adding to any positions, but I'm certainly not selling anything based on, one mildly red day, 2 or 3 weeks before we even get into the core of earnings. So, like Upstart, for instance, reports earnings. I think they're August 10th. Let me just double check. Upstart's August 10th. SoFi is August 12th. DermTech is August 4th, so we'll get that one next week, I think. Is that next week? 2 weeks? Futu, I don't think has even announced yet. So, and then like most of my other stocks, like Desktop Metal hasn't even announced yet. ClearPoint hasn't even announced yet. So, a lot of these stocks have been trading down the last couple months, testing those May lows again. But Desktop Metal is actually under $9 right now. So I actually added to this today around 870. It's been an absolute bitch to hold on to. This stock was like 35 or 40 back in February. I started buying Desktop Metal 2 months ago, probably around 14. and it's just been just bleeding every single day. It's like down 2% every single day. But I've gotten my cost average, my cost basis down to $11 now. So, if I'm right and 3D manufacturing or 3D printing, additive manufacturing becomes a real thing in the next 2 or 3 years, and desktop metal becomes one of the big winners, then we're going to look back and laugh that this stock was under $9. So, they haven't even gotten into their big revenue growth yet. So their big revenue growth is going to come in the second half of this year when they start shipping their P50 mass production, high speed printers. On top of that, they've been doing a bunch of M&A to build out their portfolio of printers, materials, and patents. So those are like three big things that are being kind of just discounted out of the story right now. They're doing a lot of M&A to really build the most robust 3D printing portfolio on the planet. And you could argue that they already have that, and they're probably not even done doing M&A. So, they have, I think, 250 or close to 250 qualified materials right now, everything from stainless steel to gold and silver to wood and fiber and rubbers. Like, it's just insane. So if you believe in what 3D printing might be in 3 to 5 years, I think you want to own some desktop metal. And I think this price under $9 is going to look really, really cheap in a few years when we look back. So, short-term pain, long-term gain. That's kind of what I say. I know it's broken record stuff, but I just can't, like, if you're trying to invest in stocks that you think are going to be 3-baggers, 5-baggers, 10-baggers over the next 3, 5, 10 years, you just can't freak out every single day if they're red. If you have cash flow, if you have income, if you're putting money into your account every week or every month, look at these pullbacks as opportunities to add to positions for that long-term, upside potential. So, just part of me wish that desktop metal was at 30 right now. Yeah, probably, because my year-to-date performance would look that much better. But like, part of me, since I have decent cash flow, part of me loves that it's under $10 right now, because I never thought that I'd be able to get my cost basis on this stock down under or down close to 11. So that's kind of how I look at this stuff. DermTech, I wrote about DermTech probably back in January. So 6 months ago, I can't believe it's been that long. So 6 months ago, I wrote about DermTech stock. When I wrote about it was in the mid 30s. It doubled and then it pulled back, and now we've kind of settled into the mid 30s. We're going to get earnings in a couple weeks, or August 4th, and we're going to get an update on the current business, which is really their PLA patch, and then we're going to get an update on their upcoming products, which are Luminate and Carcinome, which both have massive potential, probably more potential than PLA does. And then on top of that, we've gotten a bunch of announcements recently about strategic partnerships with other biotech companies, like skincare companies, even some university research labs, to try to develop new products to leverage or capitalize on all of the DNA data that DermTech is collecting from these patches. So, this story for DermTech is just getting started. It is like probably top of the first inning for this company. And if anyone is familiar with Exact Sciences, investing in DermTech today is probably similar to investing in Exact Sciences back in, I'd say, 2015 or 2016. And if you look at the chart on Exact Sciences, it's up, I think, 20x since 2015 or 2016. So that's kind of the potential that I see with DermTech right now. And then, of course, one of my favorites is Celsius. So yesterday, Celsius did a press release reporting on those Q2 Nielsen numbers that I've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So through the Q2, Nielsen scan data year over year, that's how they reported, was up 195%. Now, when Celsius reported their Q1 earnings, the Nielsen data was up about 101% year over year, which is exactly what Celsius reported for their US operations. And then they got like 30 or 40% from international. If we use that same 30 or 40% from international, maybe even give it a little bit of a discount, and then throw in that 195 or 100, I think 195% year-over-year growth for US, and US is like 85% of total revenues. Let me just pull up my my numbers, because obviously I keep track of all this stuff. Celsius projections. So if we, like I have all these models built. So if we use, so I had 198 in there. So I use 195 for US, and say US is 80%, international we give 25%. That's about 161% year over year revenue growth for Q2, and I believe the analysts are at like 80%. So we could see a massive beat from Celsius in Q2. Now, what we don't know right now is ASP, which is average selling price. We also don't know, did they have any supply chain issue? Like, so if they're doing 195% year over year, they couldn't have had any massive supply chain issues. However, I still see a lot of pictures on social media of empty shelves. So there's a good chance that they left some money on the table because, as they're switching from DTR to DSD, which is, DSD is direct store delivery. That doesn't happen like, on the snap of the fingers. So it still takes a while to bring on these DSD partners, get them enough inventory, get them on the correct schedule of how often they have to go into stores and stock the shelves. That could take another quarter or two to really work its way through. And then we also know that there was an aluminum can shortage. So, they did 195% year over year, and it's very possible that if they hadn't had any supply chain issues, DSD partner issues, aluminum can problems, they probably would have blown way past like 200%, maybe even 215 or 225% year over year. So it's possible that we did actually miss out on some revenues just with those issues, but either way, it should be a really strong quarter. And, we'll find out about margins, ASP, all the other stuff. It's possible that gross margins or even EBITDA margins tick down in Q2 compared to Q1, but the revenue growth obviously makes up for that and some. So I'm looking for at least 65 million in Q2, and that would only be 117% year over year growth. And that would include a ton of ASP pressure, margin pressure, higher aluminum can cost, etc. I think that's unlikely. I think there's a good chance they probably end up doing 70 million. Well, actually, higher aluminum can cost wouldn't really affect the revenues. Probably that would just affect the margins and any earnings or whatnot, free cash flow. So if they end up doing 70 million in Q2, that's 133% year over year growth. The analysts right now are at 53 million for Q2. So if they came in at 70 million. Let's see, 70 million minus 53 divided by 53. So that'd be a 32% beat to earnings. I would assume the stock would fly after that. And the company doesn't provide any guidance, so we're not going to get any Q3 estimates. We're not going to get any 2021 estimates or guidance from the company. So, that's sort of why I think these analysts are just way off in their numbers, is because the company doesn't give any guidance. So the analysts don't really have any numbers to work with. What I think is kind of strange, though, is after we got those Q2 numbers from Nielsen, I don't understand why the analysts that cover the stock wouldn't have raised their numbers. If you're an analyst and you're looking for 76% year over year growth, and then you see Nielsen data at 195%, why would you not raise your numbers? So either the analysts are really just screwing up here and missing the ball, or I'm missing something. I don't think that's the case, but it's always possible. So we'll see. We'll find out in 2 or 3 weeks what the deal is here. But I'm still pretty bullish on Celsius at these prices. So, yeah. That's good. I know you have a call at 12, so probably good to wrap up there.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. I was basically just going to roll right into that, but I think that is good for today. That probably covers everything. Yeah, if anybody came in later, check out FinTwit2021.com. It's in the pinned tweet. Make sure you buy your tickets and reserve your hotel rooms.
Cool.
Cool. Anything else you want to wrap up with, Jonah?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Everybody, thank you for coming in. Like Jonah just mentioned, I have another space in about 10 minutes at noon that is going to feature 5 investors just talking about what they talked about this week. I actually have one of the, Jonah, you'll like this. I have one of Jim Cramer's journalists, I think, coming on. I'm not sure if it's Kramer yet. Catherine Ross from, so she's going to be on that space in 10 minutes. So if anybody, I think it's her first space ever. So if anybody wants to come hear from Catherine Ross, that'll be her first space ever, along with 4 other investors. So check that out. I'll be putting up a tweet about that in just a minute.
Tell her I said hi.
All right. Thank you so much, Jonah.
Talk to you later, man.
Will do.